Welcome to the Marvel Alliance podcast, where we cover anything and everything to do with the Marvel Universe. From the comics, TV, and movies, we will go from Earth 616 to the Mojoverse to the TVA in order to bring the Marvel Universe right to you. I'm the man without fear, Chris.
I'm the nerd with the mouth, David.
Alliance Assemble. Volume 270. We took last week off. We just with one story wasn't enough, and then this week, hey, we get that story, and we get a little bit of Spider-Man news. We get some rumors flying around. We're back in the saddle. So, welcome back to Marvel Alliance, and we're happy to have you all here. And we're very excited about our Distinguished Competition's new show. We're looking forward to watching that, and the DC Alliance guys breaking down Peacemaker. David, I know there'll be a new song, but do you really want to taste it? You want to taste another season of Peacemaker?
I mean, I just perfected the dance from last season. Now I'm going to have to learn something all new. But I will say I was happy to wake up knowing that there was a comic book show, but also knowing I did not have to watch it at 5 a.m. in the morning.
That's true.
I could take my time. I was like, yes.
I'll watch it after we record.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, no, it was a good time to take a week off at that point. But like I said, we're back. How has been the last couple of weeks for you?
Well, the last couple weeks have been busy. We did our start of school, so it's been gearing up between my district starting plus my kids who are in a different district, them starting. My oldest kid is a 6th grader, youngest is a 4th grader, so they are all in on their next path. And so it's been busy between work life and dad life.
Yeah, so we are on week 2, coming to the end of week 2 for us starting the school year, and hitting the stride. Certain things are now okay. We're moving along. We're getting back. The cobwebs are dusted off. Kids are doing great there. My kids are doing great at school. So yeah, rocking and rolling. And yeah, so it's just been nonstop. So see a Fifth of Jack Gaming there, Alliance Assemble. Good evening, guys. Future chat members. Awesome to always have you, friend. And this will be. I will be taking a week off. I will be next Thursday night. Usually, when I take the week off for a vacation, it's because that's my last night of vacation. Instead, it'll be my first night of vacation. Wife and I are getting out of the country for a little bit down to Mexico with some of our couple of neighborhood friends to celebrate one of our friends' 40th birthdays. So I told David off air that he is a much better man than I am, much more apparently dedicated man, that he took the time to broadcast from Mexico. I love you, David. I love all our listeners. I love our GUA family. I don't love you that much where I'm going to be recording from Mexico. So who will be stepping in is Mr. Travis Hines from DC Alliance. Will be stepping in to the co-host chair next week, and I really do appreciate that. But again, I will be listening Friday morning from Mexico at that point. So
You know what? You have definitely earned the break. At the time that I went to Mexico, I have not been in the chair long enough to make that call, so sacrifices were made. Luckily, my partner was nice enough to let that slide, but outside of that, nope, you have definitely earned this.
For full disclosure, he definitely would have earned it if he asked. He just chose to one-up me on that one. So, but anyways,
I did it for the wrestling channel as well, so
I know. See, that's what I'm saying. You got way more. You not only did one show, you did 2 shows. So, like I said, dedication is very much there. But let us get the show underway, and with as always, the lovely network plug. So we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network with 6 shows covering the wide range of geek and nerdom. To see the full schedule, check out the show notes below and subscribe to the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network on Twitter at GUA Pod Network so you know when all the shows drop. We also have a Patreon, so if you want to throw a couple of shekels our way, we've got 2 tiers. We've got $1 tier is our tip jar to say, hey, you think we're doing a good job? And then our $5 tier with ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon-exclusive shows. We've got a couple of shows on there for Marvel Alliance. We Can Watch This All Day, the Marvel Alliance Infinity Saga rewatch, where we discussed and watched in chronological order all of the MCU films from the Infinity Saga. Then we have the Tales from the House of X, where we broke down our favorite X-Men films from the Fox era of X-Men. And then we are getting ready to wrap up our current iteration, our newest show, the Baxter Broadcast, the Fantastic Four Retro Film Rewatch. We are currently on we have officially watched 4 films. That started with Fantastic Four from 1994, the unreleased film produced by Roger Corman. That has dropped. The Fantastic Four film from 2005, that has also dropped. And coming this Monday, the Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer from 2007. Patrons, that officially drops on this Monday, August 25th. And coming. Yes, you have to wait till September 29th, but it has finally happened. I have watched Fantastic Four, a.k.a. Fan 4-Stick, from 2015. It has happened. The recording has been made. It is almost an hour. I do love you, patrons, and if this will get maybe some of you to listen to it, because I have thoughts. I have many thoughts. It was an experience, and I'm still scratching my head on a number of things. So that is a preview of that, but that is coming to you, patrons. You have to wait until September 29th for it, but man, it's a doozy of an episode.
It is one for the history books. I encourage everyone to go out and listen to it and be along for the ride, just as we were. I promise you will laugh, you will scratch your head, you will do all the things we did while watching this movie.
And again, I try to go into all movies. Prove to me you're bad.
Challenge accepted.
You know? That movie said, hold my beer. There were times where there were things I liked. There were times. Maybe
Yes.
on one hand. Maybe on 2 fingers. I don't know. But David and I had some good laughs. So that is coming to you September 29th. So, but we have other shows on the Patreon for you to listen to from the DC Alliance guys. Their DC Films of the Years and Joe's Multiverse Minutes, the Disney Dives on the 1st and the 15th, dropping his reviews and background content of every animated Disney film that has been theatrically released in in release order at that point. So you can check that out. And yeah, so if you're not a member of Patreon, go to www.patreon.com/GUA Network so you get all that lovely content. And again, we want to thank you, patrons. We cannot do this without your support. And last but certainly not least, we want to thank our official sponsor, panelboundcomics.com, for your hardcover omnibus collected edition needs. JP and the crew at PBC have got it going on with excellent customer service, immaculate packaging, ships around the world. We got, it's coming to an end tonight. The early bird discounts for all these great Marvel collected editions. This one will probably be lasting up there a little bit longer, though. The Brand New Day Omnibus Volume 3 will be that I think fully collects the Brand New Day run at that point. That'll be heading into the next round. But the rest of these, this will be the last time you can get them for a discount, including Avengers No Surrender, Secret Wars Battle World Volume 3, and a number of epic collections. We've got, X-Men Road to Onslaught Volume 2, so lots of great stuff. Use that code MARVELGUA at checkout to get $2 off every single order, or MGUA SIT to get 5% off when you order 4 or more books together. They let them know you're a listener, and we want to thank you for being our official sponsor. All right, so we got Fifth Jack saying, "Oh my goodness, thank you, sir. I can't wait to hear those thoughts." Oh yes,
There are thoughts.
Sure, you have. That was rough. Yes, I do it for you, the people. All right. So, if you are watching, you've seen the title of the show for tonight, the show notes at this point. We got some Spider-Man Brand New Day news. Now, none of this has been officially confirmed from Marvel. This is still coming from Rumorville, Scooperville, some of the trades, some of the things we've been hearing. But we're going to start off with the lead that occurred, I believe it was yesterday. It started to be hinting around there was going to be a big addition to the cast. Again, not officially confirmed by any of the trades. This is first one's coming straight from Daniel RPK. Florence Pugh, Yelena Belova is joining the cast of Spider-Man Brand New Day. So again, this is coming from Daniel RPK. No additional information is provided. No one has necessarily picked this up with any More substance than that. But Florence Pugh. So now we've got we've got Frank Castle. We've got, aka the Punisher. We've got Bruce Banner, Incredible Hulk, and now, basically the new Black Widow. Florence Pugh, Yelena, new Avenger. No longer a Thunderbolt, a new Avenger at this point. You know what? Travis Nell said in our group chat, move over, MJ, at that. Is that, this could go a lot of different directions with this. With the themes for the Homecoming movies were, they always had like some sort of mentor with Peter there. You had Tony for the first one, you had Nick Fury in the second one. You had Doctor Strange and then the Peters to come in and be the mentor. Originally when we finally got it more officially by the trade saying that Mark Ruffalo would be coming back as Bruce Banner for this movie, and as well as the Hulk, the mentor. But could you see Yelena providing a mentorship role in this, or it could be kind of pushing and pulling Spider-Man in different directions? Maybe Bruce trying to pull him in one direction, Yelena pulling him in another, Frank pulling him in another direction, three-way pull. What do you think about that? Is she a mentor figure for Peter in this role?
I don't think she's going to be a mentor figure, but I do agree with the whole him getting pulled in multiple directions. I kind of see it as her coming to him as Spider-Man, not as Peter Parker, and trying to bring people into her new Avengers with a Z. And
Copyright coming.
I do look. I mean, they do have cool jackets. So, but I do look forward to her having an interaction, if this is true, with the Punisher. I mean, her skills as an assassin, Punisher, trying to take out Hulk. Like, I want to see exactly how that works, because I think that Florence Pugh, her character Yelena, provides a good balance of the serious but the comedic that will help offset the seriousness of the Punisher. So she could be a good bridge between the characters.
Yeah, I put out the idea of the mentor thing. I also don't think she's going to be a mentor, but I could see her be possibly trying to recruit Peter to the new Avengers. I could also see in the sense of she's not recruiting him at all, but instead trying to bring him down and makes him, because whatever is going on, maybe she thinks he's in league with Frank Castle or in league with Bruce Banner, who we've heard rumors that he could be returning to the Savage Hulk state, which I know a lot of people would be interested in. We've also heard that this Brand New Day is going to be a very dark movie. I know it's, of course, Punisher is going to be dark. It's just like, it's interesting, though, because, I thought No Way Home got pretty deep and pretty dark, especially with the ending at that point. So, Peter's, nobody knows who Peter Parker is anymore in many different ways. And he has no friends. He has no anything like that. I'll be very curious to see, though, also, how many years later we're looking at, Are we going in real time, or are we kind of, saying, oh, it's been 2 years removed or things like that? It'll be interesting to see the state and why, if rumors are be true, this is going to be a very dark movie.
Yeah. I do wonder where her placement will be in this with the tone of it all. Like I said, if they're looking for someone who can bridge the gap between the somber moments and the more hardcore moments and still bring that comedy, she is definitely it. To your point, I could see her being somebody who is trying to take down Spider-Man, because no one has this memory of Peter Parker or anything else like that. So if she is trying to establish her Avengers as the new peacekeepers of the world, then she may be going out to try and stop a rampaging Hulk or stop Spider-Man or try and make a name for the Avengers, and that's what brings them at a crossroads.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. I think, again, like you said, she, Florence Pugh, definitely I feel myself as one of the members of the Pugh Boys. definitely a big fan. I think she's taken that character and one of the bright spots of wherever she's been in, and I'm still pushing for that Kate Bishop and Yelena show for the return of Hawkeye, because that combination in more ways than one works very well. But it could be maybe Yelena being someone who's former Black Widow and could be maybe finding a way to use Peter Parker, Spider-Man for her own interest in either maybe taking down Bruce Banner, taking down Punisher, whatever. At that point, it's an interesting, and so it'll be very, I know this is coming from Dan RPK. He gets things right, he gets things wrong, but I have a feeling that this one, considering how big it is, I'll be very surprised if this ends up not panning out.
Yeah, and a name like that, I have a feeling that for someone of his status and caliber to be tweeting this out, if this was wrong or misinformation, somebody would have shot this down by now.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, but we've also seen it in ways that they kind of let these things lie, and then when it kind of comes out, it doesn't end up happening. But this is a big shot. This is a big shot across at that point, and I would think, the idea of it, just like you said, she's too big of a name, and it's one of the biggest bright spots right now going on in the MCU, that I don't think RPK would put this out there at the end. But like with everything, he's a scooper, and again, gotten things right, gotten things wrong. But a lot of times he's had a more successful track record lately. But again, we just take it with a grain of salt, and I think if it hits one of the trades, I think then it becomes a little more believable at this point. Such as the next part of this is another. This is not coming from Scooper. This is actually coming from Variety as an exclusive, who broke it basically yesterday as well. Tramell Tillman has joined the cast of Spider-Man: Brand New Day. The Emmy-nominated actor, who is apparently, according to them and their sources, has joined the team and the crew over at Spider-Man: Brand New Day. His character in the web-slinging adventure remains under wraps, but he'll join the other cast members that have been confirmed, such as Tom Holland, Zendaya, Jacob Bolton's Ned Leeds, John Bernthal's Punisher, Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, in addition to Sadie Sink. And so rumors are saying, and sources have been a lot of times kind of saying, like, the idea of what his role will be. Now, the biggest role he's been known to take part in right now is being Seth Milchick in the Apple TV series Severance. He has recently received an Emmy nomination for Outstanding Supporting Actor in Drama Series. Recently, besides the TV, he starred opposite Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, and is actually one of the really surprised that when he was in the movie, when I saw him in the trailers, but he had a really great role and did a great job in that part. So Severance, for me, I watched it for 4 episodes, and sorry, didn't hook me at that point. I thought I was watching a different show. I know people say, give it more time, Nah, I had other things to watch at that point that get my attention, but I'm happy for everyone else. But I'm excited to see it. Now, what some rumors are saying is that it has been cast in a villain. He is either one of the villains or a villain in this movie. And I definitely think, if I were to put it on a lot of the rumors that have been swirling around the different villains that are in this movie, my money is on, I think we're looking at our Tombstone.
I think that could be a definite possibility. I've heard both. I've heard it could be, then I've heard people straight up shoot that down. I would not be surprised if, again, they went the My Friendly Neighborhood route and this was, a Elseworlds version of Norman. Or the other thing that I thought is that Miles Morales is off limits. His family is not. Could we get Jefferson Davis? I mean, they did it before, where we had the Prowler, not the Prowler, played by Donald Glover. So could this be a situation where we get Jefferson Davis? Like, we've seen how he portrays a man in uniform in Mission Impossible, so he's got that gravity to him. So there's a chance that, yeah, we don't see Miles, but we do get Jefferson and Rio.
Yeah, I wouldn't turn it down again if they can't. Like you said, they said they can't touch Miles, but I don't know if that means like everything of Miles is off limits. But yes, it would be interesting. And when I've seen him in different parts at that point, I love his voice. I love his gravitas to it. I think if he is the villain cast, I would hate for this to kind of be a throwaway part. And I don't consider Tombstone to be a throwaway part nonetheless. Would I consider Tombstone to be a main villain for this movie? That's a tough one for me. I know recently in the Zeb Wells run, Tombstone played a big part in the gang wars and kind of manipulating Spider-Man in different ways. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think they need a much bigger villain to really hook people, especially in the general audience.
For where this movie is going, and this being number 4 in the fallout of the last movie, you got to have a big villain. The way that the last movie went, you can't now come back and half-ass it, because that's going to be the whole thing. Is like, oh, see, MCU's falling off. They reached their peak and they can never do it again. You needed to bring back all the other Spider-Men to make this happen. You had to bring back Toby. You had to bring back Andrew in order to make it a success. He can't do it on his own. So you need a good villain. And yeah, Tombstone is not something that I think could lead a vehicle like this.
Yeah. But again, I would consider it possibly a second villain at that point, or one that's kind of leading up to something else, someone like pulling the strings, maybe a Kingpin, as it were. But I know Kingpin's kind of rights and things like that could be in flux. That guy B saying, I never thought about that. I would love to see something like Gang War and having Tombstone involved. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible, especially getting Frank Castle involved. He could be taking down some of the gangs at that point, and Tombstone could be one of the leaders of it. So interesting, again, as they are in the middle of filming, as we always say, like he didn't just get suddenly cast. He has been cast in this part. It's just now getting ready to put out there at that point. So it sounds like they're getting ready to start filming things, and he's going to be on set.
Yeah, so they just finished shooting, I think it was in Glasgow, where they were. So now they're probably moving to their next location, which means we're going to get a whole new set of outside shots. So it's probably get the information out there before their next round of filming happens.
Yep, but they're still holding close on Sadie Sink's role. So we will continue, everyone will continue to debate everything at that point. So, so continuing on our Spider-Man rumors, there's been another rumor, and I cannot remember for the life of me how this one and where to attribute it to, but I'll just say, someone out there said this, and I thought it was interesting to talk about. So supposedly, we heard a while back, in the last month or so, like a bunch of these like C/D tier Spider-Man villains would be in the movie, from Tarantula to Boomerang to, I think it was one of them was Ramrod. Well, supposedly, if rumors are to be true, I know Scorpion's a villain, but I don't consider Scorpion a C, D tier villain. I'd consider him more B tier in the sense of Spider-Man. But those C and D tier villains are going to be part of a opening montage of Brand New Day and showcasing Spider-Man taking them down very quickly. And gosh, I'm telling you right now, I will be clapping and saying him take down Boomerang with just like bam. Yeah, stay at the bottom there at that point. Yeah. But what do you think about that? Do you think that would be kind of a good pull to pull these kind of C and D listers and show kind of Spidey kicking butt and taking names?
I think that would be a cool way to start off this is our Spider-Man. Have him just knocking out some recognizable but not main villains, just to
whipping it up.
Here's what he's been doing. He's doing the acrobatics. He's doing the trash talk. This is your Spider-Man. Kind of set that tone that he's all in on the Spider-Man part.
Yeah. Pivot Jack game insane. Just like seeing that Spider-Man will be street level movie. Maybe.
Yeah.
I think a lot of things are pointing to that. But remember, this movie is right before Doomsday. So, hold on to your hats on that one. I think a lot of it is, but I really like hearing the stuff that in some of the stuff where Daniel Destin Cretton has certain covers and splash pages from the comics that he supposedly wants to homage in the movie in different ways, which I love. I love hearing that kind of stuff because again, I love Shang-Chi. I love his style of direction. And the fact that he wants to give little winks and nods to us comic fans and saying, "Hey, these are for you," and doing those kind of sequences, hey, more power to it. I love it. I love that idea. But yeah, I think that'll be a good way to kind of open the movie and kind of like you're saying, reestablishing what he is, how many years we're looking at, the villains popping up, and he's just taking them down very quickly because again, these are joke ones until building up to. Maybe it is a tombstone these are part of his crew and trying to take down your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That guy B saying, hopefully, if there's anything bigger than street level involved, it is just at the end credit stuff because been dying to see street level Spider-Man for once. Yeah, I think it is time. I agree, and I'd say that in the sense of end credit or leading towards that moment of Doomsday. Now, the last part of this rumorville, and this started this week, was saying that this first part of this next trilogy will be Tom Holland's last in the role. So he will be in for Brand New Day and 2 other movies in the Spider-Man trilogy, and then he will be hanging up his tights in his times in the role. I would say that would be pretty awesome if we get one person in the role of Spider-Man for 6 movies. 6 title movies, and then add into that, so that it'll be Civil War, at that point. That'll be Avengers Infinity War, and then we have Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
So 9 movies, because he is not confirmed for Doomsday or Secret Wars yet. But if he is in any way, shape, or form, 11 movies as that character. I don't think it, I don't know who has the most, but is it Hemsworth that has the most, or is it Downey Jr. that has the most?
Let's see.
I mean, it seems pretty obvious, but I think it's interesting to kind of see who has the most MCU appearances.
I would think Downey, but we are going to double check that. I do know Hemsworth has the Guardians of the Galaxy pop in plus the 4 Thor movies, but I mean, if we're counting the cameo in Incredible Hulk, then
well, technically it's Stan Lee, but that's not what I'm looking for. Trying to think, man, I hate having dead air like this, but I just kind of thought about it at that point. Okay, well, I can't get into this actually right now. Yeah, it's probably Downey. My guess would be Downey.
Samuel L. Jackson's portrayed Nick Fury in 14 films.
Okay, Samuel Jackson would be okay.
Chris Evans at 11, Robert Downey Jr. at 10.
Okay, so Samuel L. Jackson. Okay. All right. So, but still, 11 movies potentially if he's in Doomsday and Secret Wars. In any capacity, I'll count any kind of appearances at that point. But again, for when he started this part to go on, get 2 trilogies in his own right, and be a part of some of the biggest movies of all time, and with the 2 potentially at that point, Doomsday and Secret Wars, man, he could walk away from acting and just be done, with the amount of money he's banked up. And I would put it past him just to say, you know what, I'm going to do these Nolan movies. I'm going to do some independent movies, and occasionally if I need to do something like this. But man, that's a career. That's like people in the acting world dream of, to just have this and just do this. And, it's like the meme the guys always post in Geekverse about Tom Cruise saying, just making movies, making movies, having a great time.
Yeah.
Love it, because that's what it should be. So yeah, that'd be interesting. But what do you think that him concluding his part in a final trilogy?
I think it would be a fitting send off, and he has given us some great, memorable, iconic moments with that, and he will go down as the Spider-Man for a generation and beyond. So, hey, just chill
Yeah.
and live your life and rake in those Marvel checks.
Will we finally get a black costume? Will we see him in black costume?
Like I said, it won't be a Venom, but it will be black.
I'm still holding on the hope that we will see him in a symbiote costume. At that point, we will see him face down as Venom. And I will also say we will see him face down Kingpin. Vincent D'Onofrio will come into the movies with Spider-Man. They will work that out, because that's a fight we all want to see. Yeah, there's so much still left on the table, and I'm here for it, and I think it would be great to do that. So yeah, it's not a surprising thing for him to finish out a trilogy, but it is a applaudable moment that if they've worked out that deal for him to do that, then yeah, I'm all here for it. So, but all right, well, we're going to take our first ad break for the evening before we get into our next story, looking at Marvel Zombies. So as you know, listeners, these ads help keep the lights on the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. We don't get to choose what ads come on. They could be a bit loud. Give it a 3 count before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we are back. All right, so the news that broke last week, and this is coming from Nexus Point News, looking at Marvel Zombies, which is set to be released very soon. They titled the article, Thor, Valkyrie, Zemo, John Walker, Namor, and more to appear in Marvel Zombies. They say, building on the alternate universe first shown in 2021 in the first season of What If, the MCU was overrun by this Earth was overrun by a zombie plague. This series will be directed by Brian Andrews and will consist of 4 episodes. The series brings together an all-star voice cast of MCU veterans, including Awkwafina, David Harbour, Simu Liu, Elizabeth Olsen, Randall Park, Florence Pugh, Haley Steinfeld, Dominique Thorne, and Iman Vellani, all reprising their respective roles. So within that, we have gotten now confirmed of Awkwafina. God, what was her? Katie. Yep. And Katie, David Harbour. So we've got Red Guardian, Simu Liu. We've got Shang-Chi, Elizabeth Olsen, Scarlet Witch, Randall Park. Looks like we're getting the FBI agent back. Florence Pugh as Yelena, Haley Steinfeld as Hawkeye. So we get an animated team up there. Dominique Thorne and Ironheart, and Iman Vellani as Miss Marvel. So in the What If episode, series springs from the world is overrun by quantum virus, originally contracted by Janet Van Dyne in the quantum realm and brought back to Earth by Hank Pym. And Elizabeth Olsen's Wanda Maximoff is due to be a front and center in the new series as a powerful adversary. Wanda already proved in What If that she's one of the most dangerous beings in this zombified reality. Her chaos magic and undead hunger makes her nearly unstoppable force. She even survived a clash with the Hulk, who, by the way, is also stomping his way into the series. Wanda will be referred to as the Dead Queen in the series. Okoye serves as a secondary villain, and she will be in charge of the Undead Army, following the Scarlet Witch's orders. Additionally, zombie versions of Ghost, Hawkeye, Abomination, Captain Marvel, and Captain America are confirmed for the series. And the surprises keep coming. Sources tell Nexus Point News that the Marvel Zombies will also feature appearances from John Walker, Baron Zemo, Namor, Melina, Budgroff, Thor, Valkyrie, and Black Panther. Whether they will show up as heroic survivors or join the ranks of the undead, we'll just have to see to find out. Additionally, Scott Lang's head, Spider-Man, Thanos, and Blade Knight are confirmed to appear in the series. And they will be joining by the rest of the voice cast listed. This has now been moved up from October to now premiering, all 4 episodes dropping September 24th. They have deemed this an event series. So no word on how long each episode would be, but my guess is if it's taking from what Eyes Wakanda did, I'm predicting probably about 30-ish minutes each episode. So basically, 2 hours-ish. So
Yeah.
all that information, I've been excited for the potential of this series, and that the fact that they have really, one thing that has been consistent with it, that they are going to keep this TVMA. I'm here for it. I absolutely adore the first couple of series of Marvel Zombies. By the end of it, it became kind of jokey, and if I were to say who did it better, DC did it better with Deceased. I'm very confident in saying that. It just, like I said, it became kind of comedic and a parody of itself. But the first initial runs of Marvel Zombies, solid work. Absolutely solid work.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I'm excited for this. Just the characters that are named. I think we're gonna have some fun experiences. The episode of What If that was Marvel Zombies themed was fun, and the fallout from all of that, they had good moments with that. So doing a whole series out of this, I would like it more if they didn't do the 4-episode drop, but that's just me personally, because that means that I have to sit there and binge watch 4 episodes. I don't get to actually sit and digest as much as I would like. But, I will take what I can get. If they're putting out a good product, then I'm all for it.
Yeah, that guy B says, I enjoy Marvel Zombies. It's been much different than comics, but I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I mean, again, it's a very interesting take on what happened. And I can recommend the first couple of them. It's good. But again, if you just want some tongue-in-cheek stuff, what I really did enjoy, though, was the crossover, and that's not in the omnibus version of the Marvel Zombies, the Army of Darkness versus Marvel Zombies. That was a fun series. That was a cool crossover with Ash coming over into the Marvel Zombies universe. So, but all right, so that's some fun news. And unfortunately, we're going to have to talk about some a war of words on Twitter at that point, mainly very one-sided because there's not really a follow-up. So, last week, Beau DeMayo, who, if you've listened to the show at all, follow Marvel at that point, Beau DeMayo was the kind of showrunner of the first season and basically, for the most part, the second season, the upcoming second season of X-Men 97. He did all of the first season, got most of the second season done. I'm not sure exactly, if everything was done under everything with him, but most of it would be. Some things might have changed. I think his names, from what rumors have said, have also been stricken from second season in that way. But he's popped up from time to time. The reason he is no longer there, dating back, is that pretty much right before the season premiere, it was announced that he was fired and let go. And it's never been confirmed, but a lot of it started coming out that he had been did some very inappropriate things, had shown some inappropriate images, social media posts, things like that, and that's why, they let him go, supposedly. He has denied all that. He is currently in a lawsuit with Marvel Studios at that point, and from time to time, he dropped some stuff, and he dropped a lot of quote-unquote tea on this. So Dave and I are going to kind of break down exactly some of the stuff he says and basically say, do we believe him or not in some of the stuff? So these are just coming straight from his tweets, and his big target for this, most of this, is Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige has not responded to any of this. Not Kevin Feige's role. Marvel Studios has not come out commented. Disney has not commented. Again, they are in a lawsuit, which begs the question, you're doing these things, trying to get people that, we'll just have to see. So this is what he says. He says, ugh, a follower asked me if I had faith in Marvel Studios' Mutant Saga, and I clicked away and lost the message. So hopefully they see this, but also I get asked this a lot, so here's what I have to say. First, the X-Men are much bigger than anyone creative, myself included. Would I have loved to write, direct, steer, and live-action films? Of course. But I have great faith that there are amazing artists out there and have amazing visions to tell with the X-Men. Now, do I have a faith in MCU's Mutant Saga? Short answer, not yet, no. And let me walk you through why you don't think I'm just being a hater. So here we go. X-Men requires planning, deep planning, to pull off and make them resonate. You also have to be very mindful about how you're laying out the story and the way which audiences experience the story. You also need to suppress your ego to make it your own and focus on the meeting of the mutants on their terms, which means deeply respecting canon and emotional investment and fans have with canon. With this in mind, this is the start of Marvel Studios' Mutant Saga. We started with a retcon of a musical sting in Miss Marvel. Now she's somehow a mutant. Literally, our first intro into the X-Men in the MCU is not one of decades worth of mutants, but a YA retcon that Kevin Feige forced onto the franchise to make it his own and out of the MCU spin. And it's a tease and a retcon that they still have not paid off. Shots fired across Miss Marvel.
Yeah, and needless shots fired, because honestly, I liked the musical sting and things like that, for the fact that we've had all these years of the MCU and everyone knows they're bringing it in. Yeah, to have these little seeds planted along the way that the X-Men are coming, I thought it was fun. It also gave a reason to watch Miss Marvel and care about this character going forward. So yeah, I don't know if I can really get down with this comment.
So, hold on to your butts. to the above, for decades, X-Men fans have waited for teenage mutants like Jubilee and Kitty Pryde to get their justice in due film. Kevin knows this, but just like Fox shoved a teenage retconned rogue down our throats, Kevin and Marvel are shocked Khan down, I think you meant shoved Khan down our throats when far more interesting mutants would do. It's an FU to the fans, and having been in the room with these guys, it is absolutely all ego. Even having a newly cast Jubilee show up at the end of Miss Marvel to recruit her would have been better than instantly forgetting the tag we got. A weird nostalgia cameo, Professor X and Doctor Strange 2, that used the animated series sting, where Kevin thought it'd be fresh and cool to see the revered leader and activist visionary of the X-Men's entire creed get brutally murdered. Again. It was Multiverse. He's not the only. That was a fan moment at that point, as was John Krasinski's being Mr. Fantastic.
That whole scene was fan service.
Yes.
So it made sense within that scene, because everything about that was, hey, let's give you some you guys been talking about John Krasinski? Here you go. You wanted to see Peggy Carter suit up? Here you go. Here's the return of Professor X. It was all these fan service moments.
Yeah. Next, Monica Rambeau somehow finding herself transported back to meet Beast from the worst X-Men movie ever made. Add that these two characters have zero history or irony to have met one another in the same way that, say, Nick Fury coming to meet Tony Stark had in Phase 1. All the tags in Phase 1 begged a clear, exciting story. The creation of the Avengers. What the hell does Beast and Monica tease? Nothing. It's just desperate ploy to make us care. Want a better tag? What if the film ended with Monica or Carol waking up to meet Anna Paquin's Rogue? Now that does have the MCU's Phase 1 tags. The Phase 1 tags did. But again, I'm not saying he's not necessarily wrong in the sense of two characters that have nothing to do with each other. And yes, okay, let's slam one of the X-Men movies there, but Kelsey Grammer wasn't the worst thing about that movie. It was actually one of the better parts of that movie, and it actually worked with the character. But then his suggestion of putting the tag of what if Monica or Kara woke up to meet Anna Paquin's Rogue, I get what he's saying and trying to say the Rogue's history with Miss Marvel. I get what he's saying at that point, but the general audience still won't make that connection. I get for the comic fans will make that connection. The GA won't make that connection.
Yeah, and again, you are slowly reintroducing these characters for a new audience. You are bringing them back to their memory. And as for his line about the worst X-Men, well, yes, some of those X-Men movies were
Dark
bad.
Phoenix.
I was about to say, did he not watch Dark Phoenix? Because if we're going off of the worst X-Men, I'm sorry, but Beast is currently Lex Luthor right now. Like that is the worst X-Men movie. Jessica Chastain, love you to death, but that movie was horrible.
Yeah. So continuing on, the retries of Wolverine and Deadpool from Fox franchise that the MCU and Kevin had zero to do with, to tell a fan pandering story of Reddit wish lists that seemed to say farewell to the Fox universe again and yet again, and MCU being like Fox in this lazy reliance on Wolverine as the face of the X-Men. A contrived MacGuffin plot of adamantium and Captain America Brave New World that has amounted to nothing and begs timeline questions where I guess Miss Marvel is a mutant before Wolverine entered the X-Men Weapon X. Lastly, the Fox characters we thought were gone and dead are being brought out yet again to manufacture artificial interest and distract from Kevin and at Marvel Studios' decade-long flailing frequent failures. So this whole thing was definitely just basically slam after slam after slam. Is some of it warranted? I'm not saying it's not necessarily, he doesn't have a point when it comes to, yes, you're going for low-hanging fruit with bringing Wolverine and Deadpool out there. However, this is something that the fans itself and the general audience have liked seeing. They love the Deadpool character. They love Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool. They love Hugh Jackman at that point. Yes, you can call it lazy, but when it comes down to it, it was a business decision, and actually audiences liked it, and they wanted to see more of it. Yes, he's not wrong with the moundings of shoving adamantium into Captain America Brave New World and saying that hasn't paid off. Well, it's only been one film. You really haven't given it much of a chance there, but he's not wrong that it was definitely shoehorned in. And the characters coming back from the dead to come back for Doomsday, well, that's what this always was going to be about. The minute we heard about Secret Wars, we all were fan casting who was going to be coming back.
The minute we started getting into the multiverse, we started fan casting. How can we bring these characters back? How can we get there is a universe where this person lived and we can have them back, or you can bring the X-Men over from it. Like, we've been fan casting that. As far as the Wolverine and Deadpool, I look at it two ways. One, yes, the fans have been clamoring for it. They wanted it. They wanted Hugh Jackman. They wanted another Deadpool. And number two, this is a great way for Marvel as itself to put a nail in the coffin of Fox and say, all right, we are now officially our own thing, but also here's something to let the general audience cook on for a minute while we focus on these last projects that we need to do in order to get to Doomsday. Our focus is over here. Ryan, you got this over here because we know you can make and market this movie, and here's our list of suggestions. Here's what you can and can't do. Go have fun. We're going to be focusing over here on this.
Hey, Uli, welcome to the stream. Yeah, we're talking about the war of words that Beau DeMayo has basically last week and tweeting out a whole bunch of stuff about what's currently going on in X-Men and pitching a fight with Kevin Feige. So that's what we're talking about right now.
to put it in a different sense, that high school kid who is yelling, hey, you want some of this? You want some of this? Come on, fight me, while everyone is walking away. That's Beau DeMayo right now.
So he's continuing on, and like I said, this was long. He says, I don't mean to be a hater, but who looks at this and says this is the care and respect and serious thinking that the X-Men characters deserve? Hell, who looks at this and says this is a competent leadership from a studio is in no way alarming? Kevin is introducing new concepts like adamantium and mutant Miss Marvel while simultaneously recycling old Fox characters, all before telling us that they're going to reboot everything anyways. What the heck? Next, let's talk about how Kevin and Nate and Marvel talk about one thing that's come out of Marvel that was universally loved. Oh, right, they don't. In fact, Kevin and his vaunted quote-unquote parliament at Marvel didn't even attend X-Men 97's premiere. One of the crew was in the elevator with Lou the day the premiere and mentioned it, and Lou had no idea what he was talking about. Also notice how everyone at Marvel talks like Deadpool and Wolverine put X-Men back into the modern zeitgeist. Sorry, that was X-Men 97, and even Ryan Reynolds has acknowledged it. Sadly, Kevin Feige and his sycophants hated that what I created with my team was getting all the praise it did. And before you think I'm being egotistical, I highlighted this to say, under my leadership and vision, my team and I created a project that resonated with the MCU's core audiences in a way that Kevin and his Parliament have so far failed to do in over a decade. Instead of looking at what my team did and learning to replicate our focus on canon and deep character work, they smeared me, tactically threatened the crew not to speak out while continuing to still abuse them, and have done everything to act like X-Men 97 wasn't a hit. Remember, I was told by a top exec at Marvel last year that Kevin resented my work and show because the fans like you were using it as a referendum of how Kevin's MCU is failing. I was told by several artists on the show that they had wanted to post or include blurbs commending me for leadership and vision, and all I poured into the show only for Marvel to censor and reprimand him. Remember, Jake Castorena was literally stopped by Marvel in an interview with IGN for giving me too much credit as showrunner. Also, IGN went along with it, respected journalists that they all are. Not so slanted against IGN. All of this ego and the X-Men have no room for ego. Their legacy and investment so many of us put into this was not making your mark. I've yet to see anything from Kevin and Marvel that shows that they respect how fans have invested in these characters. Now, will this change? I hope so. And as I said, I have no faith yet. But with my mind, can my mind be changed? Not by the PR stunt of casting and nostalgia grabs, but by someone who actually doing an interview at Marvel about the X-Men where I hear them actually talk about it. He says, I end with this. During Phase 1, Marvel's Hall H and press releases were so exciting because they were talking about the comics and the themes of stories, and they talked about the fans and doing right by them. Now their Hall H panels and news is just Kevin or one of the lackeys talking about their latest A-list celebrity who will be paid 8 figures to cosplay as a Marvel hero. There's no talk about actual heroes or characters because Kevin and his brood are just now we're getting vicious. Star screwing at this point in the hope to earn top dollars at the box office. It's sad. These characters deserve to be treated by something more than a PR springboard and celebrity pals. So, all this to say is that his feelings are that Kevin Feige and his Parliament, as he says, do not give any credence to the fact that X-Men 97 was a touchstone series, that they brought back the love for these characters and the excitement for these characters. I can't say that he's right or wrong. I necessarily can't say that he's right or wrong with that. I do think there probably may be a part truth in this, in the sense of he hasn't necessarily praised X-Men 97 as much as he thought, but there's the problem I have with what Beau DeMayo is saying is, yes, he's saying my team, my team, my team. I don't, as a person that always believes you choose your words carefully and details matter at this point, he's saying his team, but he's saying my team. I would say if you're really saying it's our team, you change the language in this sense. I know what he's trying to do, but it just doesn't come off well as someone who believes words you say and people read into it. I may be reading into this, and again, this is on Twitter nonetheless, but this is also coming from someone who's in the middle of a lawsuit that was fired for, accusations of misconduct and behavior on set that I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what has been subtly leaked. So again, with this is true, I think there is some sense of this, but I also want to say that the truth of the sense of we haven't even gotten, he's right saying, they're bringing nostalgia break. Yeah, you're not wrong with that, but we haven't seen what they're going to do with it yet, So it's hard for me to say that they're totally going to bumble this because I haven't seen it. And we're coming from an era where we're, the last things of the COVID era, the Chapek era, the machine that is there, possibly changing. I don't know. I want to say jury's still out yet.
To his point about being told by a top Marvel executive that Kevin resented his work, and then him saying that people were censored and reprimanded. I think there's more context and nuance needed to that, because at what time were these people censored and reprimanded? Because it was not long after this show debuted that all of these allegations came out. So while this show was going on, and people are saying, yes, you did this great job, yes, you did this, and they are being censored because at the time, your name is being drugged through on some very serious allegations. I would not blame Marvel for saying, hey, you guys who are employed by us, tone it down a notch on mentioning Beau and giving him that reverence, because we need to figure out what's going on with this first before our name as a company and Disney's name is brought down. So I think there's a lot of nuance missing to this thing, saying that people were censored and told not to give him his flowers and things like that. Because again, halfway through this show, all this information comes out. They may be a little bit skeptical on, preaching your names to the masses or attaching your name to something or saying Beau DeMayo's version of X-Men 97. Like, it's one of those things. We saw They did the same thing with Jonathan Majors. Like, hey, we have to cut ties now. We'll let everything happen in the wash. We're not going to talk down on you or anything like that, but for right now, we are cutting ties. That is their MO. That is Disney's MO, and we will handle everything afterwards. You're the one who is still running your mouth while Disney is over here quiet.
Yeah. And Julio's saying also audiences' interest in superheroes changing. Yeah, it is. Last part of this, the direct had, did a post about what Beau DeMayo was saying, and he responded to it with the tweet saying that Kevin Feige resented X-Men 97. He said, "Yep, I was told this in a phone call after episode 5 premiered. I asked the exec if Kevin was happy because, stupidly, I still wanted to help the studio out. Their response was a long pause, and then I was told that he'd be, quote-unquote, happier if fans and audiences weren't using it as a referendum on what the MCU needs to be doing to fix itself. What makes it worse is that Kevin has nothing to do with X-Men 97 and could take no credit for it. Even internally, before the show aired, Marvel employees were reaching out to me asking how I was able to make the show this good given where the studio was, and how it's the best thing the studio has ever done. With their praise, I noticed more and more that I was becoming a threat and regret to the studio leadership. And again, Kevin and Lou couldn't be bothered to come to the premiere at the El Capitan, and they didn't even show up and thank the fans. They didn't show up and thank X-Men, the animated series, the Lewards, Houston, or the OG voice cast for how they built the foundation back in the 90s, the MCU. Nope, they were just a little cartoon that wasn't sexy enough or taken seriously even to warn that great Kevin Feige to attend. All right.
He's 2 seconds away from typing in all caps at this point.
Yeah. And again, no one can say whether this actually happened or not, this conversation with it. What I will say to this last part of this, he's not wrong in the sense of, okay, Kevin Feige never came to the premiere. Never has said much about X-Men 97 and things like that. That's not a great look. There's always 2 sides to every story. I would be very curious to see the reasoning. There'll be some PR reason why he couldn't come or anything like that. I can't necessarily say, it's not a good look at that point. We don't know necessarily publicly why he hasn't said too much about X-Men 97. It may be true. But in the end, he's over Marvel Studios. This is something they're still continuing on. If he wanted it to go away, why are we getting now a 3rd season before even this season 2 premiered? If he wanted to kill it, it could have been okay, second season. It would have
never been on the front page of Disney Plus for the longest time. It's still, if you go to the Marvel section, one of the first recommended things is rewatching that show.
He could
gets its shine.
Yeah, he could be right in the sense of, he wants to create his own thing, but people really holding on to, what they could do. Sure, could be like that. Kevin Feige's never going to say anything. He's never going to address anything like this because A, he's very savvy when it comes to this. He's not going to acknowledge it, and they're in the middle of a lawsuit. He's not going to comment on this. That's protocol 101 when it comes to this stuff. But it is interesting. As I said before we started delving into this, I think there are grains of truth within this. I don't think Beau DeMayo is completely making everything up. However, I think that there's certain things that, to your point, was what you said, David, there's context missing. There's things that he is not giving names. He is not giving time periods and things like that. This is something that a conversation, and this is what happens. Beau DeMayo's done this from time to time. Like he'll come out, and I guarantee you, when the second season comes out, he'll be back out there making comments and saying this was changed, this was changed, this was I did, things like that. And as Julio says in the chat, I also think Kevin Feige is a busy man, president of Marvel Studios, and oversees everything.
He's also smart enough to know that they are currently within a legal battle, so it is best for him as a studio head to keep his mouth shut. He is smart enough to know this, so Beau can run his mouth, Beau can say whatever he wants. As long as Kevin keeps his mouth shut, lets the legal process play out, let Beau dig his own grave. Maybe let him go a little bit too hard with his exaggerations on his tweets and things like that, and it goes against him. I think Kevin is smart enough to know, all right, you know what? I'm just going to be over here doing my thing.
Now, here's the other thing I'll point out, too. He's saying Kevin never came and said, who is the head of Marvel animation, television, and streaming? That is not Kevin Feige. I mean, he's the over everything. That would be Brad Brindenbaum. Yeah. He is the person that is usually the person that comes out at times when it comes out to animation and shows like that. So, and I know he was definitely front and center with X-Men 97, but they're also not going to give praise to Beau DeMayo when he was fired before the premiere of it at that point, and they're just going to that's also standard protocol 101. You may not like it, but that's what happens,
Yeah. Again, this is suit and tie, Mickey. This is corporate Disney. They're going to be smart about this, and so Kevin runs the movie studios and things like that, but Brad Winterbaum, he is the head of animation. He's the one who you hear on the official Marvel podcast talking about these animated
I stopped listening to
initiatives.
that a long time ago.
After episode 4, I realized, okay, we're not getting any good stuff. We got some good stuff episode 1, and after that, it's just a lot of lip service. But he is the one who talks about the animation. He is the one who's put on display about the animation. So when it comes to that, I expect to see him at a premiere. I expect to see him giving the interviews and talking about the direction that they want to go, not just with this season, but so forth and so on. But unless they had some plans of bringing this version of the X-Men into the MCU, which obviously they don't, then why would you expect Kevin to speak on it?
Yep. So we will see. Again, I don't think we have a premiere date yet for the second season at that point. And I know they have made probably some changes and things like that in direction. We know who's going to be the showrunner for season 3. I'm not going to deny the talent of the writer's room led by Beau DeMayo with that first season. I give credit where credit is due. It was an outstanding season, and he and his team did some amazing work. And that's going to be the comparison. And I would not be betting against the idea that when it comes out, when Beau DeMayo and his team are not on that, people may say hey, it wasn't as good as that first season. That may happen, and that's a real thing that they need to think about too. I'm not saying, they made a mistake firing Beau DeMayo, because I don't know what really happened. They do. But with everything, we'll just have to see how this all plays out. So we'll see how that happens, and thought it was interesting to kind of break down that. So, but that is all the news that we got for this week. So we're going to take our final ad break for the evening before we look at get some listener questions, fact or fiction from a couple of weeks back, and then concluding our journey into Comic Book Club with Fantastic Four Life Stories. As you know, listeners, these ads help keep the lights on the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. We don't get to choose what ads come on. They can be a bit loud, so give it that 3 count before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. All right. we are back. So put out this call as usual for questions, and we just got one this week. So what do we got, David?
All right. So we got a question from Jim Scroggs. Which of the current MCU characters would have inquired about Mephisto's service to aid them in becoming the person they are today?
That's a very intriguing question. So who do you think might have, Mephisto did give that idea that others throughout the generations have sought his help and gotten his help at that point, but didn't go into details, didn't get any hints of either way. But yeah, who do you think might have, if you had to pick one?
So if I had to pick one, funny enough, I would say that Loki would have asked, thinking that he could trick him in the end and get one over. I could definitely see Loki thinking that he could outsmart him and using that in order to get himself over.
Yeah, that could be an interesting one. Trying to think. It's kind of hard not to think not villainous character. Maybe Caecilius.
I could definitely see that. I think that from a good guy perspective, if you had caught him at the right time, Clint Barton would have been willing to make that deal.
Interesting. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
The fallout of the snap, his family, and the crusade that he went on, if you had caught him at the right time, he would have been willing to make that deal.
True. You catch him that's when the devil or his minions come calling at that point. So yeah, that'd be interesting. It's hard for alternative universes could always be an idea, but maybe Mayor Fisk, Good old Wilson.
Yeah. The actual Mandarin could have been someone who made that deal.
Could be. So, but good question. Thanks, Jen, for writing in on that one. All right. So, a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, these are fact or fictions from then. Number one, Mayor Fisk will either be mentioned or seen via newspaper article and or TV in Spider-Man Brand New Day, but not brand new footage. 92% said fact, 8% said fiction. Number two, gotta find it. There we are. The Punisher will verbally refer back to Daredevil / Matt Murdock in Brand New Day. 100% say that's going to happen. Number three, Hulk will remember who Peter really is, but Bruce Banner will not in Spider-Man Brand New Day. 80% said fact, 20% said fiction. Number four, this is coming from Troska Beckham. Scorpion will be in the MCU, will be the MCU Venom in a future Spider-Man movie. We have a 50-50 split on that one. So there's some people who think it's actually going to happen. And then finally, the Punisher will say, let me tell you something in Spider-Man Brand New Day. That's coming from, I believe, Anthony Dorsey. 100% say, let me tell you something, Webb. Let me tell you something, Webbs. Let me tell you something, Spandex. Let me tell you something.
So that actually flows. You picking that one as the last one flows very nicely into my fact or fiction.
All right, hit me with it.
All right, so fact fiction number one. Frank Castle will call Spider-Man a minimum of 3 names other than Spider-Man.
All right, let's tell us. We got Webbs. What do we got? We got Webbs as one, probably.
We got Webbs as one for sure. I do see one where he keeps on calling him Spider Boy because he is just a kid, and Frank can probably tell that, and that is probably going to just completely piss Peter off. It constantly correct him like, it's Spider-Man. It is Spider-Man.
Boy.
And so I couldn't think of another one, but this all comes off of a TikTok that you and I shared with each other. The guy
like what 1 day after watching The Punisher, 1 week after watching Punisher, 1 month after watching. But yeah, that guy's great.
Yeah, so I can see Frank calling him multiple names other than Spider-Man. So I have it. Frank Castle will call Spider-Man a minimum of 3 names other than Spider-Man.
Yeah, I can say that. I'd say fact on that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I just need, if we're going to have them in there, then I need the names.
All 3 of them right here. Look, 3 right here. 3 right here on the shirt.
See, fact or fiction number 2. Deadpool will reference the Thor crying scene in the next Avengers movies.
Well, he's got to appear. You got conflicting trades that say, like, Ryan Reynolds is going to appear. Ryan Reynolds isn't going to appear. You know what the funny thing when that story broke, David? Hollywood Reporter broke it saying he is going to appear. Deadline said no. You know what the interesting thing is? Is that they're both owned by the same company. That's what I found even more fascinating that no one really talked about. It's like, wait a minute, they're two conflicting. Yeah, they're owned by the same company.
Like, you can walk downstairs and be like, bro, like, I just posted about this. How are you contradicting me already?
That's like if our sources say he hasn't been on set. At that point.
Yeah.
Anyway, so will he reference it? Yeah, I mean, Deadpool's at some point going to be in this movie. Ryan Reynolds they're not going to not have Ryan Reynolds or Hugh Jackman not be in these films. So I think it's one of those that just has to be called back because it was too big of a reference point to not call back. And what did someone say? What if it's not Deadpool dying? What if it's something Thor is happening to Thor? I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there'll be a callback, whatever Avengers movie he is going to be in.
Yeah. Between the scene itself and then even in the movie, him asking why was Thor crying, constantly asking why was Thor crying. Like, I need either something to happen to Thor and Deadpool says, is this my time? Or for Deadpool to straight up ask Thor, like, would he cry? Like, I need some interaction that references that scene.
Yep. All right. So what do you got for number 3?
All right. My last one is kind of a legal stretch, but X-Men 97 Season 2 will have a character that looks like Beau DeMayo got on screen.
No. That's us taking a swing in the dirt they don't need to take. You know?
See, I don't think it's going to be a major character. It's not even going to be a talking character. It's going to be literally someone who looks up before, like, the city block explodes.
But they already did that. He's dead at that point. His character got blown up at that point. He blew up himself when he was in charge of it because we saw him right in Genosha at that point. He's clear as day. He even acknowledged it.
Yeah, so I have a feeling that, I don't know, I think Marvel will get petty in their response, but not petty to where it can be pointed out and someone can definitely say, this is your response. It's one of those. Was that a little dig? But they can still legally be held not liable.
Yeah, I just don't. I think that's. I like to think that you don't take a swing in the mud if you don't have to. That's just not worth it. It'll come off as petty. It won't come off good. Nobody will think it positive. It'll be like you didn't have to do that. So I say fiction on that. So, and when I put it out, I'm not tagging Beau DeMayo in it either. I'm not asking to get him hating our show necessarily. I don't want that kind of attention. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna put his name in there and not tag him in it. I'm not asking for fire.
40 post Twitter rant, all because of my fact or fiction.
Hey, no, they say no new. Hey, no, they get the negative press. Who is this Marvel Alliance show, and what have they done?
Now, the fact that you're going on vacation, this would be a perfect time to tag him, and then you're just gone. And
I didn't say I was gone from social media. I just let you all deal with the fallout. No. I'm not stupid like that. I may even just like the former showrunner of the. All right. Well, I will post those on Sunday afternoon, so let your voices be heard with that. And with that, let us bring a conclusion to our current comic book club, looking at Fantastic Four Full Circle issue number 6. So we are now in the 2010s. So Galactus has been defeated. Reed Richards is basically in a vegetative state, and things have gone down. So we open in Sokovia in 2014, and we see Doom looming over there. So, David, what has gone on in this time? And the interesting stuff, the narrator of this is actually Reed Richards.
Yeah, that was a nice little twist. Like, you don't really get that at first. It takes a couple of pages before you realize that that it's Reed, but it is a voice speaking for the Fantastic Four as a whole, and it's pretty nice. So in this fictionalized universe, now that the threat is no longer there, no one cares about each other. Peace has ended. People stopped banding together because now it's back to every man for themselves. And Doom used that to take control. He was preparing this whole time as they were preparing for Galactus. He was creating his Doom bots to start taking over neighboring nations. And the minute the peace fell apart, he rose to power.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we've been waiting for a while. Like seen hints of Doom here and there. You had the I think the biggest part he's played was that what led to the death of Johnny Storm. Other than that, he hasn't played much of a part. This is the most significant part that he's played in the final issue of what he's trying to do, basically taking over the world.
Yeah, and so the Fantastic Four, they are retired as it is now. Reed is still in the comatose state, and Franklin is doing everything that he can to try and search his mind to get him to talk, to no avail. So him and Reed and Ben have a sweet moment where Ben's just saying, "Hey, I wish we could talk like we did in the old days. I wish I could make fun of you." Things like that. They're just
Ben hasn't aged today. I don't know how rocks age.
I mean, he hasn't been exposed to any oceans or anything. I guess nothing to corrode the rock away,
Yep.
so he's just living free.
With pants and a shirt.
Yes, with pants,
Unlike other
a certain
things.
movies.
But yeah, I did like the kind of splash page that some of the heroes that still are around. Miss Marvel, you get Miles in there, Spider-Man, Riri with Ironheart, fighting back Doom's legions at that point. You get Doom and Ulysses S. Claw. He's giving some vibranium. I thought it was interesting, as Captain America in the Stark retirement haven for heroes as Sue's begging him to kind of come back out of retirement, even though he's got a cane, saying, we're trying to unite against Doom, but he's like, nope, I'm sorry, but you get
I
him.
just want to sit here with my carrot juice.
Yeah, my carrot juice. Everyone loves that good carrot juice, and he kind of passes on that. So we flash up to 2016, and Reed's kind of talking and being trapped in his mind, but having kind of a moment in his mind with Johnny. That's just who he's talking to. It's not Johnny actually there. It's just his remembering of Johnny and saying, what does he need to do?
Yeah. So, and I liked these panels with Reed having the conversation with himself and with Johnny, who is a figment of his imagination, because it is showing a different side of Reed, one who realizes that he should have done some things differently, and having that conversation with himself. But unfortunately, the world is starting to go to hell around him. We do get a nice little team up with the current, what I presume is the current Avengers lineup, with Miss Marvel, Spider-Man, Shuri.
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, Spider-Man. We have Shuri as the Black Panther. Iron Man shows up. Thing and Sue Storm show up in a more Future Foundation style get up, and
Costume. I'm sorry, never been a fan.
Got it. And we got Riri Williams on the team, so they're trying to take out the Doom bots, who just seem indestructible at this point.
Yeah, and they're able to wage war at that point and end up taking down Doom with a surprise appearance of Captain America at that moment, taking down Doom with one punch, kind of emulating his one punch against Adolf Hitler. But Doom never, being the petulant child he is, he says, I'm going to be defeated. So he sends his Doom bots all over and basically taking out cities. He destroys Paris. They're in New York, but in one of the Doom bots appears the Mad Thinker, and said that basically, he can find a way to get through to Reed using that like random head he had, downloading his consciousness into there, so he could give the access code, because the Mad Thinker put in all the Doom bots an access code that would basically shut them all down.
Yeah, and now it is funny when they were talking about getting this access code, and then they get the head and they're like, "Well, how do we get it?" All I could think about is, "Well, I'm goddamn Mister Terrific."
Yeah. And they're able to do it. Not the code is initiated at that point, and I found it interesting that as we go through these different years, we see the Baxter building, nothing's happened, and then it's for sale. Now in 2017, it's sold, but the head is still around, and the head actually is a conscious recording where he gets to say and apologize to Sue for what he did in their lives, and also give an apology to Franklin, saying that he wished he was there and was a better father and things like that, but how proud of him he was. And the head basically deactivates, and Sue moves Reed into the Stark retirement homes, and they have a sweet little moment where they're just sitting there in the memories and together for the rest of their lives. And this issue, I actually thought it was a very it's probably my favorite issue of the entire run. I've had my problems with this run for a while. The whole thing, the long game of playing up Galactus, just I thought was a big misstep. I think they could have had the Galactus thing for maybe half the series, and then bring Doom in for the other half. I mean, those are the two biggest villains, probably next to Annihilus. But I'd say if you think Fantastic Four villains, it's Galactus and Doom.
Yeah.
You do half and half. I think that might have been a better plan, but this just doesn't hold a candle really to Spider-Man Life Story, which David and I might actually be as our next comic book club. We'll debate it at that point, but there hasn't been another Life Story since these two at that point. But yeah, I think I'm glad we did it. I'm glad we revisited it, but it did not change my opinion about the kind of not my tempo for this series at this point. But like I said, this last issue was satisfying for what it was.
Yeah, very very much so. He said it ended on a much better note than what the run of issues themselves were. So I like the way that it ended, and again, part of that just could be because at no point during this issue did I feel like Galactus was coming, or the question of when is Galactus is coming was happening. So now that that's all out the way,
Galactus is coming in 10 more years. Really, really, I think that was the moment when I read this series. Like, all right, I'm done. now we're just that's too meta of a thing. That's just laziness. So.
yeah.
But yeah, so that is Fantastic Four Life Story. So we're going to take a break for a couple of weeks for Comic Book Club while David and I decide, are we going to maybe do Spider-Man Life Story, or are we going to do something different? We'll see, but we will let you know as we do it. But yeah, for the next couple of weeks, we're going to take a break from Comic Book Club. So, but all right, so that brings us Volume 270 in the books. As I said, I will not be here next week. Mr. Hines will be joining David, and hopefully some good news drops at that point. No series to talk about, but maybe some good news that you all can chat on, and I will enjoy being a listener from Mexico. So, enjoy, and I'll be missing you all. You'll see me in a week. I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Maybe. So, but all right. Well, David, tell people how they can follow you.
You can follow me on all socials at The Phantom. You can follow me here on the Geek Versation as part of the wrestling show The Gimmick with S. Bubs and Mr. Travis Snell, talking all things wrestling. We just had
WrestlePalooza's coming.
the poorly named WrestlePalooza that sounds like something that you would watch on a TV show that was trying to have their version of WrestleMania. Well, wrestling decided to co-opt the name for themselves. So yeah, we talk all things wrestling. We just had our WWE 2K25 My GM mode. It was full of bugs but full of hilarity. So that's a great watch, and we have another show coming up on the 31st of this month, doing some reviews of some shows, talking about the news of WWE going to ESPN and some other things. So if you're into wrestling, come check us out there.
And apparently, I just read, and maybe you can confirm this, John Cena's official last show is going to be Saturday night main event.
Saturday night's main event, which is unlike all the previous Saturday night's main events, which have been broadcast on NBC and Peacock, this one will be a Peacock exclusive. So, but this one is also taken place during football season, so that does make sense. I mean, you're in prime college and NFL time, so yeah, it's going straight to streaming. But yes, his dates are running out, so come see Peacemaker do his thing in the ring.
Exactly. So always check those out, and you can follow me on all the socials at Chris Balga. If you watched the last showing for the Panel Bound Comics weekly buyer's guide on the Brave and the Boys channel, we're taking a little break from that. We're retooling the show to be a monthly show looking at the FOC, so no premiere date looking at that. But yeah, so we'll be off for a little bit with the show, retooling it to be a monthly show. But you can always catch me here every week at that point. So, and then you can email the show at marvelalliancepodcast@gmail.com. You can follow the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network on Twitter at GUA Pod Network. Feel free to tweet, email if you want to provide feedback, ask questions. DMs are open across the board. Continue to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts. We greatly appreciate it. And as always, we want to thank our sponsor, panelboundcomics.com. Use the code Marvel GUA at checkout to get $2 off every single order, or use the code MGUASIT for get 5% off when you order 4 or more books together. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching live in the chat. Stay safe out there, everyone. And as Stan the Man would say, Excelsior, true believers. All right, David, what you got for post-credits discussion tonight?
All right, post-credits discussion. So, a little while back, we had the big chair reveal lasting several hours to get some names for Doomsday. It is being rumored now that on August 27th, there will be a second
there
Doomsday.
You go. There's your news.
Cast reveal. It's been floating around several C-tier scoopers. None of the major ones have confirmed this or said it themselves, so it's been like a lot of the take them with a grain of salt scoopers who have said that they would do this second announcement soon. So it's not completely off the table, but yeah, this could very well not happen. But even if it doesn't, I'd like to know who are 3 currently officially unannounced cast members. I say officially unannounced, so that means it includes technically Deadpool, it includes technically Captain America, who are 3 unannounced cast members that you would like confirmed for Doomsday.
Man, I've got to remember who. I can't remember everyone who was confirmed. So
all right, so we've got Chris.
Well, Hemsworth. I mean, you don't have to listen. I'm just gonna kind of think. I'm trying to go like not obvious on this. So, has Shuri been confirmed?
Shuri has been confirmed.
Okay, all right. There's everyone. For Doomsday, I would say let's confirm John Bernthal. You know, let's say the Punisher is in it. Let's say Well, I think. How about one for you? I gave one. How about you?
Okay, so you brought in Punisher. I am going to go with Charlie Cox's Daredevil.
Okay.
I want him. I want him in the MCU in the costume.
Gotcha.
I know I got him in No Way Home. I'm wearing the T-shirt. I want him in costume.
How about, did Chris Pratt get confirmed?
Let's see. I don't think Chris
Okay,
Pratt
I'm
has
gonna
been confirmed.
I'm gonna go Chris Pratt.
All right.
He is on Earth. He's not out there.
Yes.
So
I am going to go Aman Vellani because I want her in as much stuff as we can get her. Marvel, cut her a check for life. Just keep her coming back.
well, I will see your Amon Vellani, and I will raise you Haley Steinfeld.
Oh. All right.
So.
And let's see. So my last one, I will say, I'm not going to go with the low-hanging fruit of Chris Evans or
No, they will. I would like them to hold that one back. I want them to hold that one back so badly and just be that moment.
But if Chris Evans is coming back, I want one more run with Haley Atwell's Peggy Carter.
I think you'll get her back definitely for Secret Wars. I don't know about Doomsday, but I could see her easily coming back for Secret Wars.
Yeah.
So, but all right. Well, I will be in town, and if it is the 27th, so I will not be like getting on an awful plane saying, "What happened? What happened? I don't want to miss it." So if it does happen on the 27th, my question to my callback is: are they going to do the chairs again? Are they going to do another gimmick? Do they re-ring the bell, or they do something similar but in a new way? What do you think? They're going to do the chairs again, or do something different?
I think they will do something different. I'm just the chairs thing was just too much, and having to sit there in silence and then wait for the music for just it to slide over one chair.
How about this,
Let's
just for
not
an
do this
idea?
again.
Something from the TVA confirming these. Something within the TVA.
I would like a Miss Minutes or something on the TVA screen that just shows a blurb of them from their movie past or something like that. Just some type of callback to be like this is who we're keeping an eye on, who the TVA is keeping an eye on.
Yeah, so, well, we'll see, and I look forward to listening to the show next week. So you all stay safe. I will see you in 2 weeks, and David and Mr. Hines will see you next week. So enjoy your weekend, and see you soon.
See ya.